Piece of Me by D-Fir Dramatics in English.
Welcome to the Home Oscars. Tonight is the night, and it's going to be big. It's after all a different awards night, and you, the judges, must decide on who our winners are. Choose them carefully, for our nominees have worked hard to be here. We award the quintessential women in various avatars, and we have some great performances lined up for you. Tonight, some true stories will be told, so sit tight. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our first nominee, presenting Mihika.
To those of you who do not watch the New York Stock Exchange for 5 hours every evening, don't know shit about stock tickers, international financial markets, global banking, dollar rates, exchange values, hedging or accounting, perhaps it is necessary to introduce myself. I'm Mihika, and without knowing these things, I'm incomplete. After all, you see, I am the wife of an investment banker. A banker who thrives on profit and bets big. A real hotshot. A man who I have been told is very busy. It must be right. I barely see him. We first met at a 5-star hotel. He was with his family dressed in rich black, and I was with mine in glittering white. And that's when the game of chess had begun. The whole marriage was like a transaction, like a merger of two good families. It was the kind of economics that would have made Amartya Sen grin. Band baja, drinking and dancing, and lo and behold, I was in New York. And yes, much married to Mr. Calculator. I figured soon enough that I was dealing with a man who had an important job in the financial market. He believed that if he missed work, the financial world would have a recession. It wasn't just that. It was his disinterest that bothered me. It was like he didn't see me at all. Kya fayda hua? You might have been out there building your big corporation and making millions. But didn't you realize you were breaking our home? I was smart and independent, and I truly believed everything would be all right. सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा बेटा. तुम क्यों इतनी चिंता करती हो? मत किया करो इतनी चिंता. Isn't that what you said? And all I ever asked for was love and security. I wanted a life with a respectable man, and he wanted a trophy wife. And yes, someone to take care of his 7,000 square foot Greco-Roman decor flat, nestled in a high tower, fit with a state-of-the-art music system, and filled with these god-awful curios and this humongous TV. Oh, how I hated that TV. And as for me, well, I was someone who would sit amongst that crowd of high flyers, the one who would stand by him and look presentable, the one who would pose for pictures and smile, knowing fully well that it would mean nothing to him, nothing to me either. I used to be different before. I used to be a poet. I used to be the one who would sit by the lamp and throw words into the night sky only if I had the time. Half the time, I would be dealing with his quips. Oh, his quips! They were shot like a dart. Swift, small pinches, they drew their blood. What is this roti? It's like Russia in shape. No wonder it's so cold. Or his deception. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry I forgot our anniversary, but I got caught up with those Japanese stock markets. Japanese stock markets? Really? And there were these times when he would poke fun at my love for poetry. And he would jibe at me. You should work for AT&T. All you ever do all day is call up your relatives and sob. Don't you have a BCom degree? Why don't you study some finance? What's a ghar ki Lakshmi if she can't earn some bloody money? It all changed, however. The day Lehman Brothers collapsed. Yes, that day. The day the world cried, I was laughing deep inside. Suddenly, Mr. Hotshot, who was like Godzilla, furious and pacing in the living room. He was restless and bitter and scared. Yes, I saw fear in him. The downslide happened soon after. The banks reclaimed, someone sued, the markets bled, and the economy tanked. And boy, was he pissed. I like the part especially where he broke that humongous TV and then sat on the couch for 10 minutes as he realized he didn't have a job. And now, you know, no TV. He lost all his money in that collapse. Well, technically, not all. The courts took one half, and the other half, well, let's just say if you're in the US and you divorce your man who's just been charged with committing a financial crime of the worst kind, I got the other half. And when I saw him for the last time, I did tell him that I had indeed learned some numbers, that sometimes heroes add up to zeros. So what do I do now? Well, I have a job and it pays quite well. And I'm writing a book of poetry that I want to publish. I know I will. And I, for once, have met the right man. And I know true love exists. His name is Dan. He's funny and kind. He's well-read and polished. He's the kind of man who... He pours me wine when I get home. He puts on my favorite music and just lets an evening turn into a night. We do fun things together. We go to the theater, we go for walks, we hold hands, and sometimes we even cuddle. And I'm still into stocks, but of a different kind. I now stock up on good wine, and I try to stock up on as much of this happiness as I can get.
I love shopping, and I think most women do. I wish more and more women went out there shopping for success, grabbing every opportunity that can be obtained. I hope they stop at nothing, and I hope they enjoy it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next nominee, presenting Miss Rita Chaved.
Are you not ashamed? Huh? Men, I mean for people of your age and strength and maturity, to fight like silly schoolboys. She's mine, said one. No, definitely not. She's mine, said the other. It is ridiculous, I tell you. And what happens next? They start huffing and puffing, circling, growling at each other, like those janwars at the zoo, fighting like dogs, I tell you, the rabid ones. And for what? For me. And what did I do? Well, to be true, I sat in my car, I put on my music, and I drove away. You see, I learned this game much earlier. The game of divide and rule. And men. Boy, it doesn't even take me a second to get them divided. It's so easy. I could have been a maths professor. Of course, not with a degree and all. You see, I have this ability, to toy and destroy, to make them go weak in the knees, only so that I could push them away with my bionic shoes or smack them in their faces with my Gucci's. Limited edition, by the way, it's a must-have. My little lovely creatures. Oh, men, so hopeless, all jelly beans in the presence of my pout or the flutter of my lashes. These poor men, they're so unsure in the presence of such beauty. Honestly, I feel bad saying this, but I didn't even have to try. I smiled and things just happened. Like magic. Okay, you judge for yourself. I topped with 94% in my university, thanks to that geeky Naveen who wrote everything on my exam paper, except of course his name. Well, then I secured the first class seat in my MBA college, thanks to that Karan, whatever his name was. Poor guy. All he wanted was to take me for a cup of coffee. Coffee! Can you imagine? But he was a sincere guy, huh? He did not forget to give me all his formulae. I somehow forgot to have that cup of coffee. And it didn't take me much time either to bag the best job on the campus. No thanks to those middle-aged managers so desperately trying to look cool in their corporate suits. I swear. But in my interview, they were all too busy trying to hide their paunches and their receding hairlines, of course. How can I forget? I know what you're thinking. People say that once you're in, the job ladder is very difficult to climb. Must be. But I took the elevator. But in my first job, I showed them how tough and calculating I could be. I proved my mettle, and I did well. I grew fast track. I was the one cracking all the business deals one after the other, meeting targets, handling tough negotiations like silk. After all, I always did have the knack of getting things done. I've been doing it right from college. In the past 10 years, I have been promoted 9 times and have gained a reputation for being a tough one, especially for the men. I now head operations in 3 different countries across 2 continents. Oh, that is just one side of my performance. I'm also responsible for 3 heartbreaks, as my sources confirmed, and 1 semi-death. I mean, yeah, the guy jumped off his balcony and all, but he only broke a few bones, so that doesn't really... Well, anyway, at least he was focused. He was always ready to give an arm and a leg for me.